Redditors whose job requires to go into other people's homes. What bizarre things you've seen. I babysit for a family that has a bust of the Quaker Oats guy. Realtor here. I was showing a house that was supposed to be empty. I knocked and rang the bell to make sure. Once inside, I walked into a bedroom and found the current tenant butt-ass naked, absolutely slamming on an electronic drum kit in what was a mostly soundproof room. He never noticed I was there. But I'll never forget him. Installed sod at this lady's newly built home. She was in her mid-60s maybe. Anyway. She didn't know where the valve to the exterior tap was in the basement and asked if I could go down and turn it on for her. No problem. I go down the stairs to the unfinished basement and it's pitch dark. I find a light switch and then suddenly there is a 400-pound man naked and asleep on a mattress 3 feet away from me. She never mentioned this before I went downstairs. Oh boy, time for me to dust off one of my classics. I used to be pool guy. I used to go into people's backyards to clean their pools. One week. It was a 4-day week due to a holiday. So I'm not going on the scheduled days. I'm cramming 5 days of work into a 4-day week. It's a hot summer day. And I walk into the backyard of this house. Get through both gates. And I'm met with an odd sight. These 2 kids. Maybe 14 or 15. Are absolutely butt-ass naked. Cuddled on a poolside recliner. I look at them. They look at me. I immediately turn around and they run inside. I see the owners all the time. But I've never seen these kids before. Next week I go. The wife was outside. And we started chit-chatting. I ask her if she's had any visitors recently. She says no. I let her know that I saw some kids in her backyard. And she cut me off. She says, "Yeah. Surprised you haven't met them. Let me introduce you. They were brother and sister. They cancelled service within 2 months. I'm a midwife. And in a postpartum visit at home. The couple had 2 big pigs as pets. They were living with them in the house and even had their own room. Super chill pigs. I'm a plumber. Went down to service the boiler in the basement and the homeowner walked me through their red room. One wall had all the whips and spanking utensils. Another had all the chains, cuffs, ball gags. There was a glass cabinet that one would expect to find fine china or expensive trinkets. Nope. Dildos and vibrators. All shapes, sizes and colors. Not 1 but 2 sex swings hanging from the ceiling. A giant sawhorse with rings mounted to it. A medieval-looking rack and a small cage. I mean, to each their own and all. But at least give a fella a heads up before you walk him through the set of 50 Shades of Grey. 2 stuffed dead giraffes. Like taxidermy. I'm a painter. And in the process of covering the clothes in a wardrobe with plastic and masking up, I uncovered a box that was only covered by the clothes hanging over it, that had possibly the biggest strap-on kit I've ever seen. Easily a 10+ inch strap-on. I should mention I mainly do repaints of retirement homes. Them old folks wild. Had a job doing estimates for insulation and other attic work. One time I showed up at a house who needed insulation quote, and as soon as they opened the door I started gagging from a smell that was burning my eyes and nose. First thought was like, that smells like ammonia. I fought through it and asked the owner where the attic access was, and he opened up the garage, and I shit you not, there was cat and dog feces everywhere with water stains all over the concrete that was most definitely urine soaked through permanently. The smell of ammonia was so overwhelming I thought I was gonna pass out from oxygen deprivation. The feces was everywhere and piled on top of other shit. You couldn't take 1 step in the garage without stepping on it. Still standing outside the garage door I saw the access had no ladder, so told the guy I would be right back with my ladder. I got in my car and took a few minutes to catch my breath, then called my boss as I noped out of there. My boss called animal control but have no idea what happened after that. Pet sitter here. If you don't find a secure place to put your sex toys, your dogs may bring them to guest in your home. I would frequently go into homes on all conditions with buyers and sellers. There was a really cool historic house in a good neighborhood. The guy was a hoarder and he had torn off all the plaster and filled the walls with books. I've seen people living in the most deplorable conditions, and dealt with so many odd people. Edit, the books were in every room of the house. Floor to ceiling. Former babysitter. One house, a toilet in the hallway. Not a bathroom, just a toilet literally in the middle of a carpeted hallway, middle of the hallway but against a wall. That totally worked. It was parallel to the wall, not perpendicular. There was zero cover around it and it faced the stairway. So if you used it, and somebody came up the stairs, you were going to be making eye contact. I never understood it. It looked like someone just set a toilet down for a minute. There was a full bathroom 6 away connected to the hallway. Edit, this was a small 2-story house with a family of 4. The hallway was narrow and if the toilet was perpendicular to the wall, I'm not sure you could have walked by down the hallway without bashing your shins on it, unless you turned sideways. It did work. It was clean. But probably wasn't used by the family since it was covered in child locks after the toddler discovered flushing things. Probably late. But. Former pest control tech. I was sent to a house for stink bugs or something benign like that. When I walked into the kitchen, first room I entered through the garage. Didn't even have my shoe covers on yet. I picked up a bed bug off the floor. I asked them if this is what they were seeing and they confirmed that it was. Decided to humor myself and go upstairs to the bedroom where I found walls that seemed to be more bed bug than paint. They were even in the attic and basement. Come to find out, the people that called us out were actually the homeowner's son and daughter-in-law who lived out of state and hadn't seen them in over a year. Only flew in because they hadn't heard from them in a couple days. The mother had fallen down the basement stairs. And the father was bedridden. She was fine, no broken bones, just old and weak. They were also too prideful to ask for the help they desperately needed. Thankfully their family was able to get them the help they needed, including making the home entirely functional from the first floor until they could get them moved into a smaller home. I used to work in frontline child protection. I've seen hoarder homes that were unsafe to enter. One place, the laundry was the dog's bathroom and there was months-old dog shit everywhere. Meth labs. And all sorts of shit. One of the worst things I saw was a shit-smeared room with a regular baby crib that the parents had put lid on it, turning it into a cage. The child was 5. I thought the rug at an abandoned crack house we had to fix was pretty cool and thought it could be saved. I lifted it up and underneath was literally thousands of used needles, mostly uncapped too. Same house had a perfect condition ping pong table in it, but everything else was stripped or destroyed, including tiles from walls. But not old ping pong table. Also won $20 by opening a fridge, same house, that was sealed shut and said don't open. It stunk so bad me and my co-worker threw up in sink. Bonding times, you know. Spent it on beers for us. Edit, for everyone wanting to know what was in the fridge, it was old sandwiches. Milk and other things. I couldn't even make it because of the mold. Had been turned off for about a month in the Australian summer outside. Slammed it shut and it forced the gross ass air into my lungs like a turbocharger and then throwing up began. Apartment is mostly on the 2nd floor. With a second entrance. Den. And washroom on the 1st floor, rest of the floor is another apartment. Buddy decides he doesn't need the downstairs area, so he just uses it as a compost pit, literally just throws his organic trash down the stairs. Pile is like 5 feet tall. 8 feet across. A friend of mine is a locksmith. He went to go open a safe in this gorgeous woman's house because she had forgotten the combination. The safe was full of kinky S&M gear. Dildos of every shape and size and many porn DVDs. Turns out she was a well-known porn actress and starred in most of the pornos in the safe. So much porn. So many dicks. Several urns of cremated remains. When you do estate auctions, you often find out that dad had a vast porn collection or that grandma collected every phallus decoration she could lay her hands on. The urns always make me sad. Like, who in the hell leaves Uncle Bob up on the mantle and thinks Matt, the auctioneers, can sell him? Spoiler, no, we can't. I used to do home health and just go in and help people with everyday things they couldn't do because of their condition. Had this really sweet older lady with a bad case of psoriasis. Her floors had a layer of dead skin covering nearly every square inch of the apartment. It was even in her dog's water bowl. Did my best to keep it clean. And visited twice a week. Each time it was just as bad. I can still smell it if I think about it. Paramedic. Oh boy. Hoarder houses are the worst. Rich and big houses in a swanky area that were barren inside. Like a mattress on the floor. All the money went to mortgage. Trailers that have cats and poop everywhere. Homes that look fine on the outside but are basically stripped inside because people don't keep it up. Not really bizarre, but was tasked with removing a rattlesnake from an elderly lady's home. What was found was her sex toy lodged between furniture and the wall while on/vibrating. Poor thing thought it was a snake's rattle, lol. Turned it off, with gloves, and told her the snake had been removed. Makes me laugh. She was a sweet lady. In the 90s. I had a summer job at a small electronic repair shop. I had to deliver and reconnect an elderly woman's 32 television. This was the tube kind, it was huge and heavy. Get to her trailer and she answers the door. Woman in her 70s wearing a thin cotton shirt as a dress that barely reached her mid-thigh. Was essentially transparent. No underwear. Everything on full display. Kept my eyes averted as I hauled the TV in and reconnected it to the cable box and VCR. When I was done, she took me to her bedroom. All four walls were covered in crosses and crucifixes of all shapes and sizes. She pointed out gold-plated ones. A crucifix made from olive wood from Israel. Another of lapis lazuli. Etc. She spent a good half hour telling me the story of each one. Thanks for watching.